That was a marathon of the gospel we had. There's so much in this morning's gospel lesson. I could preach so many different sermons. There's an entire sermon just on being a woman in a first century patriarchal society, automatically making this woman an outcast. There's another sermon on why she was coming to the well in the middle of the day, in the heat of the day, instead of in the morning or evening when most people would have gathered their water. There's another sermon on Jesus talking with a woman. There's another sermon on her living in sin because she's had so many husbands and the one she's with now is not her husband. There's so many different sermons that could be preached. But as I was thinking about all of these sermons, I noticed that there was a common thread among them. And everything that we know about this Samaritan woman is one way in which she was an outcast in her society. She was a woman. She was a Samaritan, so from a Jewish perspective, she was an outcast. She'd been married so many times. This is probably because of an old law that said that if a woman was widowed and had not born an heir for her ex-husband, then the brother was to marry her. And that this probably happened 5 times, and the last brother just decided he didn't want to get married because as a man he had that choice, and she didn't because she was a woman. So, for that reason, she was an outcast, and she's probably coming to the well in the middle of the day so she doesn't have to interact with the other people who've probably ostracized her because of her situation. So here is this woman who is an outcast with everything that's used to describe her. And the standing theology of the time, the standing practice of the time, Jesus could have very easily said, "Oh, you're a woman. I don't need to talk to you. I don't need to engage you in discussion. I just want my water. Thank you. That's all." He could have said, "Oh, you want to engage me in a theological discussion. You won't understand a word I'm saying. It's far above your pay grade." He could have said these things, and most people would have said, "Well, yeah, he's right." But what did Jesus do? He initiated the conversation with her. And he kept the conversation going. This is big news for us today. Because I know many times in my life, I have felt like an outcast. Many times I've looked at the people around me and noticed that in some way, shape, or form, I am different. And I imagine that most, if not all of you, have had at least 1 or 2 experiences where you felt different, where you've maybe felt unwelcome, not part of the group, not included. But this morning's gospel lesson says it doesn't matter if you're an outcast. It doesn't matter if you've done something wrong or circumstances have left you in an undesirable position. Jesus is still offering you living water. Jesus is still extending the gift of eternal life. That is huge news. So the message for us, as we are in the middle of the season of Lent, when we are in the middle of self-reflection and looking at all the ways we may have messed up, all the ways we are not good enough, God is saying, good enough doesn't matter to me. The standard that's set for us is perfection. We've all fallen short of that goal. But God is saying, your imperfection doesn't matter to me. The only thing that matters is that you exist right now. And as a person that exists, my love is for you. My gift of salvation is for you. There is nothing you can do that will change that. There is nothing that someone else can do that will change that. There is no circumstance that could ever happen in this world that will change the fact that we are loved unconditionally by our God. So if you've ever felt not good enough, if you've ever felt left out, if you've ever felt like you just don't fit in, it doesn't matter. Jesus is here for you today. Let's take that message to heart. Let's be so filled with that message, so empowered by the knowledge that there's nothing that could prevent us from receiving eternal salvation from God. And let's go out into the world and let them know that this is for them too. This isn't something that's just for the people that show up in church on Sunday morning. The random person that you meet on the street, the cashier at Giant Eagle or Huffman's Market, the person who cuts you off on the interstate. Everyone is being extended this gift. And so many people in our world today don't know that. So it's on us to let the world know that they are loved beyond measure. That they can receive living water from which they will never thirst again. That eternal life is for them. So let's drink the living water ourselves. And let's go out into the world and extend a cup to everyone we meet, so that all will know that they are loved so fully, so immensely, that there is not one thing that could ever overcome it. That's our mission today and always, to drink the living water and to extend living water to others. Amen.
Here's something you gotta accept. Not everybody's the same, and that's a good thing. I mean, imagine a world with just full of Rainn Wilsons. Nightmare, right? I'm just kidding, Rainn Williams. You're a beautiful and amazing specimen. I'm just saying, we need variety. We need disagreement. We may not like it, but we need each other. We just gotta learn to be more awesome to each other. It's like what Nelson Mandela said. If you want to make peace with your enemy, you have to work with your enemy. And then he becomes your partner. And then there's Gandhi. He said, honest disagreement is often a good sign of progress. I mean, both of them have disagreements with people. Well, it's not always easy, but they try to treat people like they're people. We can also look to the words of somebody else. The amazing Pokemon, Meow. We do have a lot in common. The same air, the same earth, the same sky. Maybe if we start looking at what's the same, instead of always looking at what's different, well, who knows? Yeah, that's from the Pokemon movie, so it has to be true. It is true, you know it is.